This is Natural AF. Welcome back. I'm your host, Isaac.
And I'm Alexa.
And this is half Australian, half American. And I've been having a blast living down under. We just had a goanna out on our back porch over here again. So
front
they're
porch.
Back.
It's behind us, but it's the front porch.
It's behind me. The weather's turning, spring is settling in. So we just had a great weekend at the Living Free Festival and are still kind of getting caught up. So this episode's coming out a bit late. Sorry about that, but
I feel like I'm still integrating back into reality because we were there from Friday. We left here Friday morning. The event finished on Sunday, but we hung around Sunday night for just the crew and the speakers, and we all had a dinner together because Isaac was emceeing. I did my workshop, and yeah, it was just so much fun. It was so great to connect with everybody. And so we were on site until Monday. We didn't leave until Monday morning. And then we stopped in to see some friends in Yamba on the way home. We didn't end up getting home until like Monday night. And then we spent the last couple of days hanging out with Dave and Erin and some of the international speakers that have still been out here. I think they've left today. And so, yeah, today's our first day just at home, catching up on things. And yeah, I really feel like I'm trying to get back into reality. It's so hard after the festival. It's like this little bubble that we're in after, like that post-festival glow we've all got.
If you're following us on socials, you'll see a bit of that on the Natural AF podcast, Instagram. It's been really cool connecting with some of the people that we met at the festival. It's the same thing we had in the Bears where you meet people for the first time, but you feel like you've been friends with them for a long time. So
yeah, that's how I felt meeting Mike Wilkerson's daughter. She's just so lovely. And yeah, it was so nice to spend time with her and we had the best chats. And yeah, it just feels like I'm already like, we have an excuse to visit Spain now and go and visit them. And meeting Rachel Vaughan for the first time because I've done her psychic development course and we had her on the podcast. And so we know her, but just meeting her in the first time and being able to hug her and have a chat with her, it was so great to connect. And little sneak peek, she is going to be back on again. I'm not going to say in what capacity just yet, but sneak peek, she will be back on again soon. And pretty much all the guest speakers that we met are also going to be on. So we had Mike Wilkerson, Cal Washington, finally, because we met Cal at the festival last year and I just kept forgetting to reach out to him. And we're going to get Steve Young on and Mark Gober. So super excited because a lot of them were already on our list for a long time. But yeah, actually getting to meet them and chat with them and invite them on personally was, super special.
Yeah, my experience coming here has been so synchronistic and so cool so Alex Zek, the fact that he ended up connecting with Dave and Erin, I had met him at Music and Sky Festival. Didn't really know who he was, but it was just really cool meeting Alec last year at the festival. And then we found out how we have so many different things in common. Our daughters were both born, or his first daughter and my daughter were both born in the same town in Texas, a small, like Wichita Falls, like an Air Force Base place. Yeah,
him and me share a Serbian lineage, which I did not know before I met him.
Yeah, and then these international speakers here, like talking to Mike Wilkerson, we know some of the same people, like Rick Hummer, who was the MC for the Flat Earth conference that I went to in Dallas. He was also the MC in Denver. And I was just laying in bed last night, or before I fell asleep at like 1 this morning. I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I was first going to do the MCing for the Bear Fest a couple years ago. One of my friends is friends with this guy, Rick Hummer. Someone gave me his number. I called him and actually asked him for pointers on emceeing at festivals. Yeah, because I remember he did such a good job, and I was like, I was going to do that for the Bears, and I was like, I want to know what I'm getting into. And so I just remember that. I haven't spoken to him in forever. And then a mutual friend meets up down here, have a great talk about the nature of this realm, the shape of the earth, and his presentation with fossilization and the structures of the earth and all that. Very good stuff. Can't wait to have him on to go over a bit more in depth than he was able to do at the festival. So
yeah, can't wait. It's going to be great. And it was just so nice. Like we hung out with them a bit at the festival, but obviously there's lots of people around, lots on, like there were 2 stages. There was so many awesome workshops, so many awesome music acts. The speakers were great. But it was a little bit like,
Yep.
I want to be on this stage. I want to go do a workshop. I want to like, there was so many stalls and,
Yeah. I give David and Aaron that. They really made like every minute was spoken for.
Yeah.
They had 3 stages, 3 things going on at a time at some points. And like,
yeah. So it was nice to hang with them over the last couple of days, but even just in a few days, over the festival and then the last couple of days we spent together, it really does feel like we've known them so much longer than we have. It's just, I think anyone that goes to these types of events with these communities where they're very, very heart-centered, much more conscious, like it's just like that. Like there's not a lot of small talk, is there? It's like you just go into like deep conversations about, all different kinds of things. And it's just awesome. It's so great to connect with people like that. And it feels like there's nothing off limits to talk about. People don't get offended. There's no so down to earth.
Ego and status and this and that. And you can really, you can really tell who vibes and who gels with that and who doesn't.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see this community starting to connect with other communities across the world. And that's what I envisioned coming here. I'm like, it's brought me here. It's brought other people here.
Yeah.
And it was so fun having some more Americans basically in my backyard around here. We're showing them around some of the sacred sites and some of the areas that we drive by every day. And it was kind of like when you're a kid and you bring your friends over to your house and you're showing them everything in your room and like, oh, I got this and I got that trophy over there. And like, just want to show them everything. But it was fun.
Yeah, lots of fun. And we're still riding the high, riding the wave, which I love because it was interesting reflecting on, like this time last year going to the festival, and we decided to relaunch the podcast after the festival last year. And what's transpired in the last year and now the festival again, which I didn't realize until after we got home, there was actually a new moon. I think it was new moon in Virgo. I could be wrong, but
During the festival?
There was a new moon. I think it was the Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So really interesting because again, that's all about new beginnings. And when you're there and there's such a potent energy, I think it does just bring forth more creation. And I feel like for me personally, anyway, like I did my first workshop. It was great. I got quite a few women that are interested in doing my program. And I do feel like this new creative energy that I can now put into my work with other people and especially women. So I'm just super excited. I can't wait for next year. Like this is what we did last year. It's like, it's over and we're loving it. We're just like, all right, next year, what's on next year? And I cannot wait. No pressure, Dave and Aaron, but really, like, can we get onto it?
I'm sure there will be many conversations.
And of course, we had our stall there for Natural Art Form. There was so many vendors there this time. It was amazing to see other products that people were doing. And it was so lovely to meet. We had so many people that bought our products at the festival last year and that loved them and came back for more and met so many more new people. So that was awesome. Thank you to everyone who came and bought our products and also gave us feedback. Like I said, the ones that have already bought from us before. And we just did, it was a soft launch at the festival, but it's coming soon to the online. Isaac's finally created Alleviate Pro, and it was a success. We sold quite a few at the festival. So really this one's targeted at same as Alleviate, but it's got extra stuff in it, which I'll let Isaac explain. But really for high performance athletes, or severe injuries. So severely injured or chronic illnesses.
Yeah. And if you've been to the gym and you've worked out before and you come home and a day later your muscles are stiff and sore, like that's the result of doing micro damage to the muscles. So you're always in a state of quote unquote injuring yourself and repairing. That's just the nature of, applying stress, finding your limit, coming back, repairing, and then going back to the limit and trying to push it. And athletes, particularly, endurance athletes, and I mean, this would be great for footballers and stuff as well. To help keep the joint healthy, help the muscles repair faster. And if you're dealing with any kind of chronic issue or some deeper stuff, this has a bit more DMSO in it that'll help further lower inflammation, increase circulation like Alleviate does, but with the added benefit of nettle oil, which is very, very good for the joints, very anti-inflammatory. It's used as like an arthritis thing. But by me actively putting things into your body that would benefit your body to recover and repair itself with arthritis before you get arthritis. The idea is promoting health in the joints in the body to prevent damage and prevent illness. And then if you are injured, help your body recover from it a bit faster.
Yep. So we'll keep our listeners posted for Alleviate Pro launch online. But in the time being, you can always get Alleviate, Regenerate, our skin repair lotion, or our Refresh deodorants. We've got 3 cents available in Australia, 2 cents available in the US and beyond. And as our listeners, you will get 10% off always, no matter how many times you order, using the code NaturalAF10 at naturalartform.com.
In this episode, we're going to be interviewing someone that is what we would call like an aligned affiliate, but also an amigo, a muchacho, a friend that we ran into at the markets around. And our businesses are in alignment. In fact, he bought some of our product, Alleviate, to help with, I think he just bought it because he was into it. And then he went back to New Zealand and had a mountain bike accident.
Yeah.
And with our product combined with good, proper nutrition and fuel from Primal Kiwi, which is his company, he bounced back pretty quick and really, really enjoyed it. So we kind of collaborated, and I made a video promoting his business. He made a video promoting ours. And that was before we ever started doing like an affiliate code or anything. Mm-hmm. But I am open to working with other businesses and brands that we know personally, that we believe in, that follow the similar values that we hold. And I think rising tide lifting all ships, we're going to do a lot more collaboration with people, because that's part of the thing, is like knowing which brands, which companies hold a similar life value of no toxins, no fillers. So we'll make it easy for people to find and trust brands that put them first and put their health and their vitality above profits. So that's what I believe Primal Kiwi is. And our guest today, Nigel Dixon, is the founder of that, and him and his partner are doing a great job holding it down in NZ in New Zealand. And we get to sit down with Nigel today and talk about nutrition, talk about his health challenges that he overcame, some pretty difficult things that the medical system, like a lot of people are finding, would say you can't ever be cured from. But those that will find a way. And that's where that's the stuff champions are made from. So we like to surround ourselves with champions, overcomers, warriors, and just promote those that are doing a great job and uplift everybody so that we're all flourishing. We're providing a network of amazing things to support your family's health and longevity. So
yeah, Nigel's great. So down to earth and just really humble, you can tell. And I just really enjoyed this conversation because we talk about a really wide range of topics on this podcast. And when it comes to physical health, we obviously, anyone that listens to this podcast knows we go pretty heavy in on the energetic stuff and spiritual and, generational, healing and all of this stuff. But you can't negate physical health, because you can't just focus on all of the metaphysical and then fuel your body with absolute garbage and expect that you're going to be healthy and live a long, prosperous life. And I really enjoyed this episode because, it just opens my mind up to just, exploring like different, ways of eating. And it's definitely, I don't think I'd ever be full carnivore, but I think it is something that I just want to explore a little more. And I actually am really spewing that we didn't get into this in the episode, but when I was editing, I would have loved to have touched on what Nigel thinks of men versus women doing carnivore, because I think the carnivore diet is definitely much more beneficial for men, where they're just going to have less issues if they were to go full carnivore. But women, because of our menstrual cycle and our hormonal changes, we definitely need the carbs. We do need a certain amount of carbs in our diet, or, you can get to a point where you stop getting your period and things like that. But I'm definitely something I'm going to start experimenting with. And Nigel just gives so much good information. And that's why I personally love his products, because, especially when you're talking organ meats, like they're so beneficial for us, but trying to get over that mental barrier of eating the organ meats, this is great. They're freeze dried and capsuled up, and you can take them and get the benefits without, having to chow down on some raw liver or kidney or brain or heart. And Nigel's been generous enough to give us an affiliate code that will give our listeners 15% off the entire product range of Primal Kiwi. We highly recommend go check them out, try them out, because we love them. We talk about them a bit throughout this episode. And like Isaac said, we love to support other businesses that are aligned with what we're doing. They're doing things more consciously, and they're actually helping others to reclaim their health and do it in an ethical way.
Yeah. So just before we get into it, so we had some tech issues on this episode, which, it happens. We're doing our best. We're just doing our best. But we spliced it together. It cut out a couple times, but I think we did a pretty good job putting it back together. And if you see behind us here, a few episodes ago, we talked about, we're going to have an update to our studio, and it's not really an update to the studio.
It's just an update to the house.
The only place I could really put a fireplace in is right here, right behind us, just in time for spring.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do things at the right time, right place, right time, right place, right uniform, right guys, right Army guys. But the chimney's right behind us. I couldn't just put it up there without drawing attention to it and saying how good of a job I did.
He actually did an amazing job, guys. Head to Nighthawk Bear. So if you go to our Natural AF podcast account on Instagram, we're tagged in the bio. And if you go to Isaac's personal page, you'll see he fully refurbished this fireplace. I'm not going to get into it here because we could do another half episode just talking about the fireplace refurbishment. But I feel very, very lucky to have a man that is useful, very useful around the house.
Get it done, even though it takes a few months. All right. Well, we'll quit jibber jabbering. Let's get into the episode.
Enjoy. Nigel Dixon's lifelong passion for health and wellness was born out of personal struggles with serious illness, chronic pain, and the shortcomings of conventional medicine. After surviving viral encephalitis at 23 and years of debilitating health challenges, he began a decades-long journey of studying nutrition, natural therapies, and holistic healing. His experiences taught him that true health goes far beyond fitness and that the body has an incredible ability to self-heal when given the right environment. Today, through Primal Kiwi, Nigel shares his knowledge and insights to help others reclaim their vitality and live in alignment with natural health principles.
Welcome to the show, Nigel. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Lovely to be here.
We met Nigel at I think
Byron.
It was Byron?
Yeah,
Byron
one of our
Community
markets.
Byron
Yeah.
Bay Market, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for some reason your shirt stood out to me. It had a little emblem of your company on it, and I just assumed it had something to do with Primal Nutrition, which I find really fascinating. And we started having a chat, and here we are. So
Yeah, I don't know
what you're doing.
I went to that market a couple of years previous, and I just had this drawing to go back. I just enjoyed it. So it was good meeting you guys there.
Yeah. Yeah. We always say that we always meet just all walks of life at our markets. We're so lucky where we are because people literally travel from all over the world and all over Australia and visit all the markets. So it was so awesome to meet you. And since then, we've tried Primal Kiwi products and absolutely love them. Right. But we'll get to that later. I'm really wanting to dive into more of your journey, Nigel, because like a lot of our guests and myself and Isaac included, a lot of our journey has started with our own health struggles and challenges. So yeah, I'm just going to give you the floor. Start wherever you need to and kind of let us know what happened for you.
Yeah, so I grew up in Dunedin in the south of the South Island. And,
I worked with someone who grew up in Dunedin. I actually know quite a bit about Dunedin, of all places in New Zealand.
No way.
One of my managers was from there. He used to always tell me stories about growing up in Dunedin.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a funny time. Probably I think the population might have been 80 or 100,000 people or something, and it was pretty small and a good time, good place to grow up. And but when I was about 21, I headed off to Australia. Which is a Kiwi's rite of passage. You first step out of New Zealand, Aussie's the place you go. And so I went to the Gold Coast and got my first job building there, and it was great. Enjoyed it. Got in a flat with a bunch of Kiwis and guys from home, and we had a ball, and we kind of spent just about everything we earned on cheap beer.
As you do.
And just had a heap of laughs, and it was really good. I spent about 2.5 years in Australia at that time, but just before I came home, I was training at the gym. There was a gym there called the Power Dome in Southport, I seem to recall. I was training there, and I was the strongest I'd been in my life, and probably not fueling very well with the diet definitely wasn't where it needed to be, and the alcohol wouldn't have helped. But I was training hard and getting stronger, and then all of a sudden I got a flu, and I I went to the doctor a couple of times, and the second time I went back, he said, "Oh no, whatever you got's viral." And he said to me, "Oh, don't get too close." He said, "I don't want whatever you've got." and I was like, "Oh, right, okay." So I took the next lot of drugs he gave me, and a couple of days later, I woke up in the morning and I stood up and fell over, and I was paralysed right down my right side.
Whoa!
And our flatmates sort of bundled me up and carried me to the car and took me back to the medical centre. And next thing, I'm in an ambulance going next door to the hospital and into intensive care. And I had what they said at the time was viral encephalitis. So had a virus got into my brain. And I was paralysed down my right side. I couldn't coordinate my left side. They were asking me questions, and I could think of the answer inside my head, but it was pretty hard to get it out.
Wow.
And the parents were told, "Oh, yeah, you better get over from New Zealand," because they didn't know if I was still be around.
Wow. Yeah. What a scary situation, being in a different country and everything when all this is happening.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember at the time not being very scared of dying. I was just scared of being left incapacitated.
Yeah.
Right.
So I spent a few days in a coma and sort of came around and still paralysed down my right side. But I remember looking at my toes one day, and because you're trying to move something, it's a pretty weird feeling where you look at.
Yeah.
We gesture automatically, with the hand. And you don't even think of it, and all of a sudden you just can't make something move. But I remember the toe moving the first time, and then you think, did I imagine it? Because you can't do it again. It's like, but no, it's sort of everything pretty much came back, and I spent about 4 weeks in hospital, and then I got the last dose of drugs put in my leg, and I got a blood clot that from ankle to hip.
Far out.
Which was not good. So that was pretty lucky. That didn't kill me either.
Jeez. Do you remember what kind of drugs that was that they put in the leg?
Acyclovir, I think, was the antiviral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, so they kicked me out of hospital, and then I was back in again for another couple of weeks while they sorted that out. And that was about 6 weeks in hospital, and it's interesting. you get a lesson in hospital food, don't you? Because I remember by the end of it, they'd only had to bring it into sight, and you'd be retching. Like you think when you first go, and if you're in a few days, you go, "Oh, this is all right." It's not.
I think it's a psychological tool to get you to heal yourself faster, so you can get out of there, so you can get some proper food.
Pretty horrible food, yeah.
So yes, the leg gave me a lot of bother after that, and then I ended up back in New Zealand. So I was about 23 when that happened, and about 30 I got a blood clot again in my other leg. And by then they could do genetic tests and tell you why it was happening.
Right.
So whereas they couldn't the first time, it was just the only thing they had to say was it was probably a drip that caused it. It's kind of like what I've learned about a lot of illnesses now, a lot of chronic illness. What's the saying? Genetics loads the gun, but it's the environment you create inside your body that pulls the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've all got a genetic weakness because we're not going to last forever. Something is going to get us in the end. It's a matter of whether it gets us now or in 10 years' time or in 40 years' time or when. But if you treat yourself badly, it'll get you sooner. So, so the first time the intravenous drip was the trigger. The second time, it was bad diet, low exercise, sleep deprivation, just working really hard. And the next thing you know, I land in hospital again. And then they go, "Oh, this is why, and I want you to be on drugs for the rest of your life."
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, some kind of blood thinner.
Blood thinning drugs for the rest of your life. And, of course, they're really hard on your organs. And I'm a diver. You're not diving when you're on blood thinning drugs. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things. You go, I like to ride motorbikes and mountain bikes, and I like to do things that you're bound to get bruises.
Bruises. And then if you nick yourself, it takes a lot longer to stop bleeding. Yeah.
But you go, well, I made it so far through my life. Why is this happening now? And so that sort of starts a journey, and you talk to doctors, and they haven't got many answers, and you talk to them about anything natural, and they're very dismissive. And
they've just got no idea. They've not trained in that. Like, I studied holistic nutrition, and you literally can't have a conversation with a doctor about nutrition. They're just not trained in it.
No. No, absolutely. And to the point of being quite arrogant, rude, and ridiculing.
Yeah. Totally.
And I struck it on a number of occasions. So I had blood clots on a few occasions. And of course, there's no internet back then. It's hard to get information, and you're looking for books, and you're busy just trying to make a living and make your way out in the world, innit? And you're trying to avoid this. But information was hard to get. Yeah, so the internet changed things a lot. But I did get my hands on a book sometime back then, before the internet, I think, or maybe soon after. And I can't even remember the name of the bloke now, but his whole message over and over again through the book was around drug companies and pharmaceuticals, and was follow the money.
Yeah.
And that was 35 years ago or something. It was just over and over again all through the book, follow the money, follow the money. This is what's going on, and follow. It was a pretty hardcore book, but it sunk in. And once you sort of had your mind open that way, you can't unsee it. So.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I remember when I was doing, so I was trained as a medic in the Army, and we did ACLS, the Advanced Cardiac Life Support. And the doc that was training us on the heart was a chain smoker. Just after every single break, in class, he'd be outside smoking like 2 cigarettes. And he knew it. And he's like, yeah, it's not great for your heart. His voice was like really rough and low, and like, and he was our cardiologist for that. I was like, something's not jiving here. It's
you can, that's what I mean. Like the proof's in the pudding, right? Like doctors and nurses, actually, they've got quite a reputation, nurses, for being like really heavy drinkers, and like they love to party. And doctors are some of the most unhealthiest people you'll ever meet. Like I remember when I was studying nutrition, and one of my lecturers was a naturopath, and she dated a doctor many years ago, and she said he would have just white bread sandwiches for dinner with like the plastic cheese on it or whatever, and like just diet was terrible. I really don't know what the Australian doctorate degree is, but I imagine it's very similar to the US. And in like 6 or 8 years, depending on how long they study, if they're specializing, I think they do about 2 weeks in nutrition. So they're just not qualified to give any sort of advice on like holistic health and nutrition. They are trained to diagnose and prescribe.
Yeah, and in my experience, even in talking to people with those degrees, and even nurses, their training is to their detriment. They are it's so ingrained, and they tend to pop a lot of pills. The first thing that they're always at the doctor. As soon as something goes wrong, they're off to the doctor, and it's another prescription. And it's like, hey, just whatever it is, just treat yourself right. It'll run its course. You'll be fine. But
exactly. Well, yeah, we talk about that often on this show. It's a sick care system. It's not a healthcare system. The pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry, they obviously, go hand in glove. And it's just to keep people sick because that's what makes the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's it.
Yeah. If I were to ask you, Nigel, what do you think what do you suppose the number one cause of death in probably any Western country is? What would you say?
Oh, medical misadventures right up there. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember which one's number one, but it's that, and it's heart disease, and it's cancer are the top 3. But medical misadventures.
Yeah. Has that taken over in the States? Is that number 1 now?
Yeah, it is.
Iatrogenic causes. Yeah.
They called it. That was one of the first, because we did our medical vocab training, right? Because I went from knowing nothing about medicine to like 6 weeks. We crammed in 2 years of pre-med. And vocabulary was like the first 2 days. And iatrogenic was the one that stuck into my head. And that's the medical term for when the doctor messes up and injures or kills a patient. And they literally had at the hospital I trained at, they had daily meetings, and they gave it some kind of weird name, like, I don't know, like night call or something like that. But daily meetings where they would discuss all the injuries or problems that the doctors had, like mistakes that they had made, injured people or killed people or whatever. And it was like a learning thing. But iatrogenic illness, number 1 cause of death in the US, and I'm sure it's the same here.
It's probably pretty high up here too. Yeah.
So, which, it's unfortunate because I know a lot of these guys are motivated and they want to help people, but you go with the level of training that you're at, and if you're willing to step outside the boundaries that they set for you, and a lot of doctors won't do that.
Yeah. Like if I fall off my mountain bike or I am in some sort of accident, I'm going to be pleased to see them, and I got the utmost respect for what surgeons can do. There's a whole lot of diagnostic stuff that I think is really useful.
Yeah.
But I steer clear as much as I can. I haven't had any use for them for the last 10 years.
Yeah, well, that's good, and I totally agree. Like the trauma world, because that's was my forte. Unbelievable, and even aneurysms and stuff dealing with the blood vessels. I saw them drive. They were fixing an aneurysm in a guy's brain, and they went into the femoral vein in the leg, and they had this little like wire that went all the way up, found the the blood vessel that needed to be fixed in the brain. He was in and out within an hour or two in the hospital, when before that would be like big incision in the head, open it up, do the surgery, hope he survives. Now it's like, I mean, some things are absolutely incredible. But when it comes to like long-term illness and chronic disease, it's like the other side of the coin.
Yep. I think we're on the same page with that.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually funny, Nigel, because when we met you, we spoke to you and your wife. Yes. Yeah, and you guys walked off, and there was just something about like, because obviously we were talking about, you know, your products and talking about our products, and you bought some of our products. Then you guys walked off, and I said to Isaac, I was like, I reckon they're on the same page as us. Like, I just got a feeling, but obviously knowing like the products that you sell, you don't just get into that like willy-nilly, you know, just like, oh, I'm going to sell meat organ supplements and things like that. Like there's got to be a journey there, because especially what period of time was this in your early 20s to 30s? Was this like 80s, 90s or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because that's the 80s was when the big push for everything's got to be low fat, saturated fat's bad for you.
Margarine.
That's when all that started. And that has been so detrimental to our health. So when did you start to figure all that stuff out?
Somewhere along there. Like I worked out that fat. I went through the olive oil phase, so we're having olive oil instead of butter, and because you're told that saturated fat's no good for you. So I went through that phase. I can still remember as a child in the 70s, I can still remember the shift where sugar really got a big push.
Yeah.
So I can remember going on holiday and we'd have cans of Raro, and they were big cans.
Yeah,
big
right.
Cans, what did they be? They'd be a half gallon, I suppose.
And what's Raro?
Well, it was real pineapple juice canned in the Pacific Islands and sent over here in cans, real pineapple juice. Which is still really high in sugar, but it's not like sugar. So we used to have that, and then one Christmas we go away on holiday and there was no more cans of Raro, and you're only a kid, so you're having whatever is put in front of you. But I remember there were sachets of flavored sugar that went in there, and it was nothing like the Raro, it was crap. You go, that stuff's not good.
It's like Tang. When you go to Southeast Asia, they give you Tang and they tell you it's orange juice, and you're like, this is an orange juice.
NASA, so you know it's
good. I could remember that rolling out. I don't know, it would have been 6 or 7 or 8 or something, but I just remember that was the beginning of the downfall, I reckon, and the sugar just went into everything. And
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and that was also, I think, because it was like, I mean, it's like they almost do it on purpose. It's like they introduce the sugar, and then the sugar goes out of control. People are like eating so much, and like the diet changes, and you see all these shifts in health and weight and things like that. And then they go on the it's sugar free now. And then, because I think, don't quote me on this, but it was somewhere around the late 80s, early 90s that they created the artificial sweeteners. And then it was like, well, saturated fat's bad for you. Sugar's bad for you, but we'll give you an alternative. Like, still don't do natural sugars. We'll give you an artificial sweetener that's not really sugar. And it's such a stark contrast, because before all that, like that was the staple of most diets was saturated fat. They would cook in lard and butter and, get whole milk delivered, like with fresh cream on top and all of this. And obviously, like if you look at the state of health and longevity and everything, it's like night and day to where we are now.
Yep. It's every now and then you see someone, there's one floating around the internet, a photo of a beach scene from back in the 60s and everyone's lean.
Yeah.
And you look at a beach now,
Yeah.
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 Looks like lots of beached whales.
Yeah, we have one of those in California, so where the walruses hang out.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Well, and then the food pyramid, right? Like you guys had that down here, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why was that a worldwide phenomenon? Like, how was that? Oh yeah, 80% like grains and bread, and then like fats was at the top with sugars.
Well, that was all paid for by the cereal companies and stuff, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that's pretty well known now.
Kellogg's.
I follow Dr. Anthony Chaffee quite a bit. I listen to a lot of his. I don't know if you've ever listened to him on Spotify or YouTube or whatever.
I've come across him a couple times, but haven't gone too deep.
Carnivore MD. So he's a brain surgeon. In fact,
I know that name. I don't know his real name, but I've heard Carnivore MD. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's American, but I believe he's living in Perth at the moment. So he's he's a brain surgeon, and he's got his own clinic, I think, and he's athlete, rugby player, or ex-rugby player. I don't think he's playing now, but and 100% carnivore, hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And, he talks about Kellogg, the guy Kellogg.
Okay,
Seventh-day Adventist, and they thought that they wanted to quell lustful thoughts, so that's why they demonized meat. And,
really?
Interesting.
They have the virility in your
Is
that what it is?
So there was a religious drive behind it. Yeah.
And they're also pacifists, because like when you said that, it reminded me of I don't know if you might have some insights on this, or you've heard something about people saying that when you eat red meat, it makes you like a more violent person or more connected to that too. And I was like, I wonder if that's part of the Seventh-day Adventists too, because they're well known for being pacifists.
Yeah.
Which no shade against them. Like I'm glad that there's people like that. We need the peaceful farmer gardeners type, but
but I've never heard that before, and it just sounds like rubbish.
I've been hearing it
I
more
don't think
recently.
It makes you more angry and violent,
especially up here in the Byron area, Byronshire and Mullumbimby, and you got the real yogic centric areas, very peaceful, lots of vegans, and it's like, we're peaceful. We don't eat meat. What do you think?
Yeah.
Or is it just that people that eat meat tend to be like, I don't know, just like, I like boxing, back in the States, I own some guns. I have, I love doing target practice.
Not. Listen, guys, I've been vegetarian, I've been vegan, and I've been a meat eater. It does not make you more angry and violent. I'm the same person with my diet.
I don't think it affects your ability to control your emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're all capable of violence, even the yogis that are really flexible and very peaceful looking. I've seen some anger within. So
I think it makes you stronger and more capable if that's what you want to do. But I don't think it affects your ability to control your emotions. No.
Yeah. So going back to when you started to sort of learn about this stuff, and I love that you started with the pharmaceutical industry and follow the money, because that was kind of like mine and my family's background. That was kind of where we started as well. And so for many years, we knew about the corruption within the pharmaceutical industry and government and all of that stuff. And again, we sort of went on our own health journey, because I know when my mum sort of first started learning all of that, we went that's when my whole family was vegetarian for about, well, it was for the first 5 years of my brother's life. We were full veggie. And then for one of those years, we went full vegan, which I don't even remember, to be honest.
That's probably because your brain shrunk during those years.
And like, this was back in the 90s, right? So this was like, my mum was making everything from scratch. Like everything was like, she was buying organic and making everything at home. And because whereas now you can be vegetarian or vegan and eat a really unhealthy diet, especially because they're so full of seed oils and all of the, the polyunsaturated fats and and all the fillers to try and make things taste and be the consistency of animal products and the things that they're not eating. And it's just, it's really terrible now. But back then it was, even though now we're fully on board with like, we buy the best quality butter. We get milk straight from a cow from one of our neighbors. And obviously, again, studying nutrition and being able to, understand when you're reading like studies and stuff, the evidence is there. Like it's so much more beneficial for our health to to be eating animal products and eating a balanced diet. But for you, like, where was that shift when you kind of started looking at your diet, and what was it in that healing phase to sort of what it is now?
I was looking at it all the time, and it's interesting. You see people, we all see people that can get quite obese and their weight can really blow out. Mine never did that much because for whatever it is, genetically, I don't. But for some that are treating themselves really badly, that's a protection mechanism. So the body can't deal with, so it layers it on in fat.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't happen to me, but I could get a bit overweight, and it's like, oh yeah, you're training pretty hard at the gym and you're not losing what you want to lose. And at one stage there, I was probably the cardio fittest I'd ever been. I got a blood clot again. You go,
really? Wow.
It's not fitness, you know.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with fitness. I'm doing enough exercise.
Yeah.
You go, there's something creating an imbalance, and that's when I really got my head around blood sugar, and it's not just from sugar. And you can eat, because I'd worked out sugar was no good, but you're still eating bread or rice or
right.
Which I never realized. You're still eating carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Which, it's all sugar.
Yeah.
Every carbohydrate turns into sugar.
Yeah.
And it turns your blood to acid. So somewhere along the line, I learned about the acid alkaline balance in your blood. I do recall having a wee crack at a more vegetarian based diet, and just started putting on weight.
Wow.
And that'd be probably 35 then, I suppose. Once again, I was working real hard, and I've found a vegetarian restaurant cafe that I used to go to quite regularly, and the more vegetarian food I put on, the more weight I put on. And this is no good. Went back to steak and salad, and the weight come off again.
Interesting.
Right. But yeah, you sort of work out, actually I eat carbohydrates, and I'd find if you had a roast dinner, you might have the roast lamb. Always save the meat to the last anyway, because it's what you enjoy the most. But you have the roast spuds, and there might be some kumara or yams or whatever. And I'd get into bed at night. I'd just sweat. Like, the body would just turn it into energy. And your body's trying to get rid of it. You know, your body's trying to get rid of the energy. I'd either not get to sleep for hours, or I'd sleep till 1 or 2 and then wake up. I'd be wide awake, and there'd be sweat trickling down my sides, like, just
and it's funny, a lot of people will call that the meat sweats, but it's probably more like the potato sweats or something.
yeah. It's just far too high a blood sugar, and your body's trying to get rid of it. And
makes sense.
But the other bit is that it turns your blood to acid, and acid blood is sticky. So we're meant to have a pH of our blood on that 0 to 14 scale. We're meant to be at 7.36 is the number, slightly alkaline. And our body's always working. We have to be there. We'll all be there or thereabouts. Our body's always working to keep us there. And the more acid-producing food that you take in, and look, emotions and hormones can be very acid-producing as well. Anger and negative emotions are acid-producing, but that's another thing to handle. But as far as food goes, sugar and carbohydrates, blood sugar and the insulin that goes with it create a lot of acid. And our body has to alkalize, and what it uses to alkalize is minerals. So if someone's taking in a very acid-producing diet, it'll rob their body of minerals.
That makes sense.
That's why,
because they say that with soda.
Exactly.
Erodes the teeth.
My mother's an ex-dental nurse, and they always used to believe that it was the sugar on the teeth. So she was like, if you have anything sweet, clean your teeth quickly. Like, get the sugar. But my comprehension now is that it's your acid blood, and in order to alkalize, your body's looking around for, and calcium's the most alkalizing mineral. So what it does is your body robs calcium from your bones, and the easiest place to get it from your teeth. So you got children getting fed fizzy drinks and having all their teeth pulled out because they're rotten. Because the first place it takes is your teeth are like sacrificial anodes. It's just like, and it just robs the calcium, and that's why you get older people having osteoporosis and breaking bones. Like they got bones like honeycomb because the minerals have all been robbed to alkalize the blood.
Yeah. That makes so much
sense. That does make sense, yeah.
Well, and then you add to that, so much of our food source doesn't contain the minerals it's meant to anymore. Like we were talking about this on a recent episode just with farming, with the quality of the soil. When the quality of the soil is no good, you're not getting the amount of magnesium that you should be getting from a lot of your plant foods. And then add to that stress. And I know Isaac, our products contain magnesium, and he's so hell-bent on like dosing people with magnesium any way they can get it, because what is it? Something like 60% of the population, it's probably higher, but it's like something like 60% of the population is magnesium deficient. So we're just copying it from all angles, really.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and that's a buffering agent as well. That will buffer lactic acid in your system. Does all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
That healing balm I got off you was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right in time for your accident. We've had that happen to so many people where they've either bought it or we've met them and then they've just had this major accident and we've sent them one, or they've bought one and then they've just had like an accident or something happen and like they've had it. And we've had such good results from lots of different injuries.
Yeah, normally I don't part with some money for that sort of thing because I'm pretty dubious about it because I've had so little result over the years, but I noticed it immediately.
Yeah.
Within half an hour of putting that stuff on, there was a significant pain reduction. It was awesome.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
It's great to hear. Yeah, and then just using the way it stimulates circulation and get the blood nutrients going to the area, and then you with the nutrition side of it having all the raw components there to repair yourself faster than a depleted body. That's a great combination. So did that make a pretty big difference for the blood clots, like managing it with keeping an eye on the alkalinity or the acidity of your blood?
When I got my head around that, I've never had another blood clot again. So
amazing! Wow.
Yep. And what I'm aware of, what I've become aware of, is I learned along the way quality fat, and in particular animal fat. It leaves a neutral pH in your blood, so it's not acidifying.
Wow, because that's another one of those, I would say it's a myth or an idea that's been put out, is that if you eat meat, it creates acidity in the blood and acidity in the body.
If your protein intake's too high with not enough fat, it will be acidifying. So when we burn, like we need protein to rebuild, but it's not fuel. So
right.
It's not fuel for movement and keeping us warm and operating our brain. It's the protein's there to rebuild and replace cellular turnover, but we shouldn't be using protein for energy.
Okay, right.
My understanding, it's a metabolically expensive process. It's hard work, and it turns your blood to acid. So if you haven't got enough carbohydrates and you haven't got enough fat, you can burn protein for energy, but it is acidifying. So we've got to get those healthy fats, and they're called essential fatty acids for a reason. That's actually the fuel for movement and warmth and heat, and that's what we actually run on.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's all coming back to me now, all my training in nutrition, because I think of all the metabolic processes, as in when you're looking at macros of food, actually, and what I learned, which is really interesting because it often gets negated, is that I remember one of our lecturers asking us almost like a trick question. It's like, what's the fourth macro? And everyone's like, what? And it's alcohol, because your body has to burn alcohol as well, and it turns most of it into sugar, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what the equation is. But of all the metabolic processes when we're digesting our food, it takes the most to digest protein and break it down and use it. And then you've got your fats and your carbs, which is used for energy. And then they've just got all the different amounts. So yeah, it's super interesting. And it makes so much sense too when, certain institutions and organizations want to cherry pick information, because that's what a lot of the vegan movement talk about. And they've, there's documentaries, and I'm sure everyone's seen the ones on Netflix and stuff that are all pushing plant-based diet. And that's one of the big things they say, is that it's acidic. Eating meat causes your body to become acidic, but that's not the full picture.
No, exactly. And look, we've got to get energy from somewhere, and eating all carbohydrates turn into sugar. They're all acidifying. And that's one of our products is rocket fuel. It's beef tallow in soft gels. because
Yeah.
when you go to the supermarket, you look at your chicken section, most of it's had the skin nicked off it. Well, that's the fat content. You need that. And chicken fat isn't the highest quality. It's probably the lowest quality animal fat, but it's still better than grains. And you look at most of the red meats had the bulk of the fat trimmed off it. Because it's this whole indoctrination that we've had that, and doctors will tell you, oh, red meat, that's the worst. And red meat, well, it's the best. The protein and fat from ruminant animals is got the lowest toxicity. We eat the meat. We're benefiting from the animal's digestive system and their ability to remove toxins and plant defense chemicals. I've learned more about plant defense chemicals in the last 5 years. Because we're taught that eat your veggies, and it's funny you watch a young child and you can think of how hard your parents had to force you to eat veggies when you were a kid. Or maybe that was your natural instinct telling you, hey, this stuff tastes bad. It tastes bad for a reason.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually.
Well, I remember it smelled weird, like the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli.
Yeah, or the cruciferous
had a bit of a sulfury smell. So what's this plant defense chemicals? I'm not actually familiar with that.
Lots of different ones.
Yeah, there's stacks of them. And probably the person that talks about them the most and the most clearly is Dr. Anthony Chaffee. He's real hot on it. But I got onto it before him. He's good at vocalizing it. But plants don't want to be eaten. They're stuck in the ground, basically. Their only defenses are toxins. And when you look out in your backyard, there's not much out there that you can eat. And they don't want to be eaten. So there's toxins in every single one. And we tolerate some, but they're a real thing. Oxalates are one that I had a problem with personally. It caused me a lot of inflammation.
Here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was when I was vegan, actually. Although I was full vegan at a couple of points in my life, but the last time, which is when I got the oxalate toxicity, I was eating completely plant-based except for seafood. Right. So I was getting some of those good fats, but again, very like seafood, the fat is still different to like your land animals. And and that's why, and it's interesting because again, I was kind of going against my own sort of natural, sort of the way I like to eat, because I was eating way more nuts and seeds. I don't really like nuts and seeds. I never really have. And I was eating way more of them, tons of oxalates in nuts and seeds. Yep. Lots of obviously like vegetable foods, and then the more raw food you eat as well with higher in oxalates. And that was kind of like I was on that diet for maybe around a year, give or take. I can't really remember now. And I actually saw a kinesiologist, and she did all this testing, and she goes, oh, what? She looked at my thing and she said, oh, I think you've got oxalate toxicity, because she saw my diet. She said, oh, do you eat this? Do you eat this? And I was like, yeah. And she just said, I'd recommend maybe changing your diet. And that's when I started to introduce like all the animal foods back in. Never had a problem with it since.
Yeah, it's amazing, and there'd be few doctors that would pick that up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's what's it? I think Natasha Campbell McBride, I think, wrote a really good book on oxalates. Yeah, but certainly, as soon as I got rid of those, I had a whole lot of inflammation drop away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a real thing. People go through their lives undiagnosed. They trust their doctor, and they go to the same doctor year in, year out, and they can have terrible health issues. I think the most insidious thing with oxalates, my understanding, is they attack wherever you've got a genetic weakness. So the symptoms can be very random and very different from individual to individual.
Yeah. It's like a lot of things with health, but especially when you're looking at the nutrition, it is so dependent on the genetic predisposition of the individual, how something's going to present. Tons of studies show it. Like you can be, 10 people can be exposed to the same toxin, but some might not show symptoms at all. Then the ones that do get affected, they're all going to be affected so differently. But another one I was just going to say with those plant defense mechanisms, lectins is another one, like in legumes and stuff. I feel like most people know that. Do you know that?
I've heard of lectins. I'm not sure what they do, but I imagine it has something to do with acidity and other things?
Well, it's something that's why, with legumes and beans and things, they say they really have to be prepared well. They have to be soaked and then boiled. And there's all this preparation, which most people don't really do, or they just buy the canned stuff because it's a protective component of the beans on the outside. And so you have to break all that down for us to be able to eat them and digest them well.
Yep, it's a real thing. Even lots of, over the years, I've seen so many practitioners and had all sorts of herbal remedies and tinctures and concoctions and Chinese herbalists, and typically I can't think of one that I would buy again or that I continued with, and some of them had some quite negative consequences. Maybe I'm really sensitive to plant defense chemicals, I don't know, but I didn't get positive results out of plant medicine by and large. Which is, like I say, it's probably why I was dubious, but I purchased your and was pleasantly surprised because and I have no doubt that plants can be very, very beneficial if used correctly and the right ones on the right people. I just think there's probably a whole lot of practitioners out there that are making stuff and maybe aren't even aware of the potential negative effects of them what works for one won't work for everyone, and
exactly.
So it's certainly got their place, but I didn't. I ended up not sort of down that route because I couldn't get a result myself. So
I'm kind of with you on that. I'm like that with naturopathy.
That's why I made my own remedy, because you get an arnica oil, and I'm familiar with, now I've sourced, I believe that I've found every single place you could buy any kind of arnica oil or comfrey from the US to Australia. I've gone through every single website I could find, and I'm very familiar with the differences in quality and different extraction methods and all that. And there's, only 2 or 3 companies that I found that I really know how they do the extraction and what the quality is or the freshness or whatever. So that really matters. And then, there's other processes that we've lost touch with, which I'm still a little dubious of, but I'm very interested in things that are even more advanced into the realm of spagyrics and the old alchemical methods of things, which can be very complex, but it's almost like a similar realm of the homeopathics, where I just don't have as much experience in it, but I know there's something there because I've felt the effects of it.
Yep.
But I had to increase the potency of some things using the DMSO. And then I use the different things together because they each have a different function. By themselves, they're pretty good, but not, nothing to write home about. Arnica is good, but you put it on, unless you're using it very heavily for something, or specifically for bruising, it's really, really good. But it has its limitations. So I like to just kind of add a few things together so it gives this nice, well-rounded effect. So it doesn't have to be the exact perfect alignment of all the things and then you feel the effect. It's just, a bit more multifunctional, so you don't have to have 6 jars on your shelf, one for everything. Because I find that a bit, I don't know, a bit precious or whatever. Especially as a man, you go into a man's cabinet, there should be one thing of cream on it. If he's got a facial toner and a cleanser and a lotion, and it's okay.
We get worried that people are gonna question our sexuality, don't we?
Yeah. We got one backpack with all my clothes in it when I travel, and that's it.
Well, but it's like that with I've become that way with supplements, and especially studying nutrition, because before that I think that's another huge indoctrination, and we need to be taking supplements, we need to be taking vitamins, and that's a whole rabbit hole that I probably won't go down here. But in a nutshell, they found that this is really, I'm going to go right down to the end of the rabbit hole and I'm going to jump back out. But they found that vitamins, as we know them, don't actually exist. They've actually never been isolated and they've never been proven. But the way I see it is that they're just putting a name to the benefits within foods that we find. But when you're taking a vitamin, a synthetic vitamin that's been made, and there are documentaries, I think one I watched years ago was called Vitamania. I think it was based on a book, but there's a film as well. And Vitamania was talking about the production of all these supplements and vitamins. They're literally made from the byproducts of industry, of the fuel industry and all these industrial manufacturing warehouses and stuff. They take all the byproducts and make vitamins with them. Like, it's wild. And so anything that you're taking that comes in a pill form is never going to be as good as just eating the piece of fruit or eating the meat. And so I don't take any supplements anymore, except for yours, because they're actual like food-based supplements. But the synthetic stuff, I got rid of everything. And it's kind of like that same thing. Like, why have 10 bottles of something when you can just like get it from your diet, eat well?
I've spent a small fortune over the years, just working my way through trying to regain my health. And I've had some of the flashiest, here's this multivitamin and it's all plants and veggies and they're all organically grown and it's this combination and and in the end, once again, I'd be reaching, I'd just open the bottle and your body's telling you, hey, you're not meant to have any more of that. Like, because you just have a sniff and go, that's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to some of them, because I've been focusing on, the sport performance and recovery side, and my sort of North Star is as natural as possible, being aware of all the synthetic versions of vitamins and things, and taking a look at the sports supplement world as well, because that's a massive industry. And I have felt the effects of certain things, but I'm curious about how it's made. Things like that are really good for muscle recovery, like beta alanine. And I was looking at that one, and AI has been great for helping me do some research as to the manufacturing methods. I can get real detail oriented and real quick, but beta alanine, for instance, one of the top ones, amino acid for muscle repair. But when you get the version that you buy pretty much anywhere, you buy beta alanine, it's made using acids and solvents and some nasty stuff. And then they swear that they purify it in a GMP approved facility, sanctioned by the FDA and the TGA and all that. But I'm like, at the end of the day, you can get beta alanine from meat and good quality butter and things like that, and just eat that. But all this supplement industry also hinges on pushing people towards a plant-based diet, which is deficient in all the things that they then want to manufacture and then sell back to you as vitamins and supplements. So I just see this kind of big wheel of spinning.
The other bit that you watch, all these manufacturers, everyone's looking to isolate a nutrient that they want this particular thing, and we've got this process, and we can charge a whole lot more for it, and no one else can make it like this, or ideally patents. And they're trying to isolate nutrients, but my experience is that anytime you take one particular nutrient or mineral or whatever it may be for any amount of time, you may even see an instant effect. That's positive. If you actually get diagnosed and you're short on a particular mineral and you take it, hey, you're probably going to see an immediate effect. But you take it for a period of time, you'll throw the balance off. Every nutrient has antagonists. So you take too much of one mineral and you're going to deplete your body of another. We need balance. So everyone's looking. All the manufacturers are looking for an isolated nutrient that they can charge a lot of money for. But what we actually need is balance. We need perfect balance of nutrients. Nothing works. No nutrient works on its own. They all work synergistically together. Hence, and I think meat provides everything. The reason for the organ meat supplements is they provide sort of like 7 times a lot of the nutrients of muscle meat. So
what can you tell me about the? So you guys do a brain supplement, and
which we've been taking. I was what really we've learned in the last few years is that with organ meats, and this is what I love. It's like it's just the simplicity. It's really not that hard to figure this stuff out, guys. If you eat liver, it's good for your liver. If you eat kidneys, good for your kidneys. I assume if you eat brain, it's going to be good for your brain. So that was one of the first things that we ordered from Primal Kiwi. I was like, this is going to be good for your brain function. I've been eating
it like cereal, just a bowl of brains. I need all the help I can get.
Just for the record, guys, people listening, they come in, they're freeze dried and they do come in capsules. So you don't have to actually eat the organs, which I love, because that's what I'm like, all this good stuff, but it's like the mental block of getting over, like eating liver and kidney. I just can't do it. My mum used to eat raw liver. She was anemic, which I have that genetic predisposition. I've always tended towards anemia, and she used to eat raw liver when she'd get really when her blood count whatever would get really low. She just go to the butcher, get raw liver and just eat it, salt and pepper, and just eat it straight. I'm like, oh, I can't do it.
Wise.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's hard work.
exactly. Yeah.
It is hard work, and I do. I've bought organ meats and cooked them up, and I've had some raw, and I think for a lot of those organ meats, you cook them, they taste worse. The taste gets really strong, and they're better raw.
Yeah.
But we've grown up on our palates are ruined for organ meats. Like we've all grown up on carbohydrates and sugar. It makes organ meats pretty tough for us to. If we'd never had access to all the sweet stuff all of our lives, our palates would be quite different. And you notice if I'm now running about 95% carnivore, your tastes definitely change. If I do take in something sweet, it tastes really sweet now. Yeah, but all good. Hey, freeze dried in the capsules, easier.
Yeah,
easy.
Exactly.
And I'll take that stuff with a steak, with the steak and butter.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, which you've just said, did you start eating, did you start with the organ meats and you're like, these are really good, but then you're kind of seeing the tastes are different and it's hard to stomach. Is that when you were kind of like, how can we package this up in a way where people can get it and still get all the benefits from it?
I remember I used to take liver supplements when I was training at the gym when I was young, it goes back thousands of years.
Yeah.
People have been eating that stuff for a long time, but it gets lost because it's not sexy, Like I say, science tries to isolate nutrients and make more money out of it. So, and then I was hunting the product out and buying it from wherever I could get it from, and I figured that there was some things that I could do better than the stuff I was buying. And you look and you go, actually, there's not that many people doing this. And New Zealand, our farming practices and the land that animals grow up on here, our meat and organ meats are sought after around the world. And you go, hey, there's American companies buying our stuff and taking it offshore in 44-gallon drums and encapsulating it overseas and selling it all around the world as New Zealand product. And you go, hey, we should be sending the finished product out. We can do it here. And the formulations are a little bit different, particularly our multi-beef organs. We did differently in different ratios with good reason, and we try to make it as user friendly for people with a bit of knowledge and education along the way as to why we do everything the way we do it.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on? Because I imagine you're sourcing the best. You want the best quality meat, of course. Because I think a big part of actually what reminded me of this was, when, people want to say, eating lots of meat is very acidic and, it's not good for you and whatever. But it's also what's the quality of meat that people are eating? Because most stuff that you're just buying at the supermarket, the cheapest meat on the shelf, they're pumped full of hormones and antibiotics and God knows what else for the period of the animal's life. So do you guys take that into account when you're sourcing the meat and the organ meats that you're using?
Yes, we do. It's very, very difficult to get commercial quantities of certified organic because it's very difficult for farmers to get the certification. But as far as antibiotics, none of the animals used for our stuff are pumped full of hormones. Antibiotics in big commercial feedlots, and probably the US is the worst of it, they just feed animals antibiotics flat out as a preventative because they're so densely farmed. They're stood in feedlots eating grain. So it's poor quality meat, it's poor quality fat. So you want your cows to have been free ranging on grass. So the quality of the fat is a whole lot higher when they've been eating grass than when they've been eating grain. So here in New Zealand, the animals that go into our products would only get an antibiotic if they had actually got an infection at some stage in their life. So they might have got a scrape or something, got an infection for some reason, got an antibiotic. Well, I guess that might not then certify them as organic, but that could have been years ago. But there's no feeding of antibiotics as a preventative or as standard. The animals,
the
animals are very, very well looked after.
Yeah.
Farming practices make our product one of the most sought after in the world for that reason.
Well, we were just talking about that recently because Australia's always been pretty well known for our quality of meat, and they've just done some stupid deal because of the tariffs from the US. It's something to do with that. They've done this deal now where they're going to export all of our great quality meat to the States, and they're going to start importing the US meat into Australia and selling it to Aussies. And I was just like, ew. Like, I think it's pretty well known worldwide that US standard of food is like the lowest. Sorry, babe. You know now. He didn't know until he came here, and he was just like, "Oh wow, yeah, our food's really bad."
Yeah, generally speaking, I mean it's on par with prison food. I remember going to elementary school, and we ride on the same prison buses as they ship prisoners around, an exact same model, just painted yellow, and the food's about the same. The cafeteria is about the same, and and I've spent a couple nights in jail, once upon a time, and yep, same food felt very familiar. Bologna sandwiches.
It's probably made by the same people that have made my hospital tucker back in the day.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very efficient, for whoever set up that business. But
yeah.
Yeah, look, you wonder when you hear about things like that. There's money behind it, and what other agendas there are, I don't know. But it's I shop at my local butcher as much as I can, and then hey, look, there's people doing home kill, and I try and know where my local farmer is and how the animal is treated, and shop that way rather than supermarket. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm really excited about? I know a couple of people. I think my niece married someone that does mobile butchering, but the mobile butcher is brilliant. If you have an animal that you've raised on your property, grass fed, you're taking care of them, you love them, and then it's time to butcher it. You bring in an outside, a mobile butcher who has all the skills, can do the right cuts of meat and all the.
It's a great idea.
It's like that is a excellent service to have to offer if anybody's interested in changing a career. I'd love to see more of those. Yeah.
I was going to say it makes such a difference in quality to the meat because the animal's not stressed.
Yeah.
When they all get loaded into a big truck, and right from then they're getting stressed and they're standing in a truck, and then they head to the yards and they stand there for I don't know how long between then and when they'll be able to smell the blood. And they're watching what's happening to the mates, So it makes a massive difference to the quality of the meat. If they're one moment they're standing there happy, and the next minute they're being turned into steaks, it's a whole lot quicker, and there's a lot less stress and a lot less, once again, negative hormones running through the meat. So.
Yeah, that's such a good point to make. That was one of the books I read when I was 17. That was the first time I ever went vegan, was talking about that, like the practices, like the farming practices, the stress they're under. This is like large scale commercial. They're just fed grain, which is not good for them. It's just kind of to fatten them up. It's not their natural diet. They're not outside a lot. Like they're just not living naturally at all. And then the ways that they're killed is super stressful for them. And so literally at the time of their death, like they've got all these stress hormones. And then like I remember the chapter of the book was called You Are What You Eat, and was talking all about this. And so then you're eating all of those hormones and stuff. And so that's why even now, like that's been a big thing now in the supermarket meats, you always say no hormones added, no antibiotics, no hormones added. But it's also like, well, but what's the quality of the animal's life? Because they can still have hormones, especially the stress hormones, because of how they're living, how they're treated, how they're killed. And that's why I went vegan. But that's what I've learned now, a decade or so or more later, is that it's so much more nuanced. Like you can't just stopping eating meat doesn't solve that problem. That's still going to happen. It's like where are you sourcing your meat? And we're so lucky up here that we're the same, where we've got people that raise the cattle and sheep and pigs and stuff on their land, and then when it's ready for a cull, everyone kind of gets a cut, and it's the best tasting meat you'll ever eat.
Yeah. So what was I'm always curious, what was your biggest driver for the whole vegetarian and vegan thing? What was that saving the planet or kindness to animals, or was it, did you think it was healthy, or?
Mine was a bit of everything, to be honest, because my family was vegetarian for like literally the first 5 years of my brother's life. So we're 6 years apart. So I was a young child. That was my, my very early programming was, oh, well, that's healthy because we're eating lots of fruits and vegetables and, all the plant-based stuff. But then as I got older, it was then became more, in I was 17. So my teen years, it was more about, oh, but I love animals and this is so horrible how they treat them. And then in the last sort of decade, especially with all the stuff that's on, these documentaries, I've watched all the Netflix documentaries. They're really pushing the plant-based diet for the grand scheme of things with climate and whatever, which we now know is just absolute rubbish. It's just another agenda. It's like an agenda within an agenda. And it's just, now that I know, like I watched a lot of those documentaries probably about almost 10 years ago now. And so much of the information in those documentaries is one cherry picked. It's been taken out of context. You're not getting the full picture. And so I was a bit of everything. And now I'm kind of like, no, I'm very comfortable eating meat and knowing that I'm not ruining the planet. And, look at Bill Gates and his bloody methane, what's it called? Bovea, the whole Bovea thing, and trying to stop cows from farting because the methane they're putting, it's just rubbish. It's just ridiculous.
It's insane. It's insane. It's interesting. I think one of the most destructive things to the planet is industrial scale monocropping. So if you want to grow a monocrop of anything, you've got to kill everything else there.
Yeah.
The amount it strips the soil of nutrients. The only way to put those nutrients back in the soil properly is by putting animals over the ground. Lots of farmers know that you can't keep pulling crops out of the same ground. You turn it into a desert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We need animals. They're part of the food chain, and hey, they've always farted, And look, they've got. You look at your ruminant animals. That's where you get your healthiest meat. They've got big multi-chamber digestive systems that we don't have. They're capable of breaking down fiber for energy, and we're not. We don't have those huge guts like they do. That's the difference.
Yeah.
We're not designed to eat that stuff. It's even I've had because you got to look at what you're packaging your product in, and you can buy plant-based packaging, and you can buy bags to put I could sell my capsules in they're really expensive bags, so they've grown corn or soy or something, and they're making a cellulose packaging that's compostable. And people think, oh, I've had the odd person be upset about the packaging, and we thought hard about the packaging. Glass is nice, but if it gets broken, then you're sending it again. So everything's got an energy cost to making it. I look at it and go, okay, our plastic bottles, it's made of oil, but it's recyclable. So that same plastic can get used over and over again. The plant-based packaging, they've had to indulge in industrial scale monocropping an oil well doesn't take that much room in the ground, and supposedly it's a renewable resource in itself.
Yeah, and it still takes as much chemicals to make the plastic out of plants and the cellulose as well. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you go, okay, and the heavier your packaging, the more fuel you use getting it there, and the more likely it is to be broken. So you waste everything, and it's always hard to know. There's always way-ups and trade-offs, but it's not simple. It's not nothing's as simple as the propaganda would like to lead you to believe.
Yeah.
And look, being healthy people use less resources. The medical system is, if you're not healthy, you are roaring through resources. Those hospitals and doctors and the fuel to get yourself there, and the lost productivity time because you're not working because you're crook. All that stuff's very, very environmentally expensive. So the best thing we can do is be healthy.
Yeah, very good point to make, Nigel. I'm totally with you.
Yep, that's my health insurance is learning about my body, exercising it, keeping it fit, and then really paying attention to what I put into it. And I didn't grow up with a lot of this stuff. We grew up very, we had a farm. We did have one steer that we raised once and butchered. Great meat, but I still drank like Mountain Dew like it was water when I was a teenager, all this stuff, and didn't really start getting into the health stuff until I started exercising. Because then you start thinking like, well, I want to be more fit. I want to be strong. I want to be fast. And what I'm putting in my mouth is the fuel for that. So what's the best quality fuel? What's our octane? That was my journey. But it was like, still I'm learning. But I'm remembering back to watching the Forks Over Knives documentary about plant-based diet and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to start doing this. I never actually went full plant-based, but I was like, yeah, it's really important to eat your vegetables. I was just like, that's kind of true, but it's also like, what are they spraying on it? Is it genetically modified now? There's all these different things. And it can be daunting for people to learn about all these different things. And trying to keep track of where everything's coming from. Like it's pretty hectic out there, but thankfully there's people like you that do a lot of the work, a lot of the research, and build it into the business that you're sourcing it from. It's conscious. It's very conscious what you've done to source it from where you get it, providing the best product to give people the nutrients that they need to live a healthier life. And once you kind of simplify it like that, it does make it easier. And for me, it's almost like a string of connections. It's like, your business where you get things from, there's only maybe a handful of places that I'll buy things from like that now. So I try to keep it as simple as possible, but yeah, just getting closer to where we were a couple thousand years ago as far as our diet is smarter. I think, I can't believe it. You've heard of, things like Soylent. Have you come across the Soylent where they try to synthesize every mineral and vitamin and everything and put it into a drink? So you just drink it and that's your meal.
Oh, gross.
And people fell for it. People are like buying that up. My brother was doing that for a bit. I have another friend that was doing that. And pretty sure it messes with your hormones because it's full of soy.
Ugh.
So
we don't have that here. Thank God.
But the mind boggles. My wife and her friends enter a few competitions on social media, and they win all sorts of prizes. And one of her friends won some nutritional supplements, and a bottle of it got given to my wife, and it appeared on the bench here at home, and had a really sexy shaped bottle, and they'd obviously spent a lot of money on the label, and it was. I thought, oh, what's this stuff? I'll have a look. And I looked at the name of it, and I won't mention it here because, but I went on the website, and I looked around this website. I'm going, what's in this stuff? Because what it wasn't going to do for you were going to be an Adonis in the bedroom, and your hair was going to grow back, and your muscles were going to get big, and you were like, what it wasn't going to do for you wasn't worth doing. I'm thinking, what's in it? And I hunted and I hunted around the website, and way down in the depths of the website, I managed to find the name of one synthetic ingredient, one synthetic molecule. And then I Googled that synthetic molecule, and there was various reports through to it might be useful through to can cause kidney damage. And it was one synthetic mineral, and it was more than $100 a month for the little bottle of pills.
Wow.
And for a little bottle of pills with one synthetic molecule. And great marketing. Amazing marketing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they get away with it. What the things they were saying it was going to do for you, but that's not fueling your body. We're not your cells in your body. A lot of these things, and it could be some of them are plant things, some of them are something like that. Sometimes when you think you're getting a positive effect, it's actually an immune response. It's causing an adrenaline release because you just poisoned yourself.
Yeah.
And you think you're getting
Yeah.
energy. It's just stealing your future energy. But
Exactly.
Our cells aren't short of a synthetic molecule, you know. Like in the long term, that's not going to make us go good.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Nigel, I'd love to get your opinion on, because you mentioned like you used to kind of live off like your whey protein powders and your amino acids for the gym, but you weren't really fueling right. What's your opinion now on whey protein powders? Because I've kind of gone, I used to take them, you know, when I was back in my heyday, back in my gym junkie days. And, you know, Isaac's always saying, I think I need to be drinking protein, and, you know, because when he works out, and I've really gone off it, because again, for me, it's like this isolated, it's like, it's not in its whole form. And it's what's your opinion on whey protein powders?
For many people, they're inflammatory. Yeah. So once again, it's in nature, protein and fat occur together.
Yeah.
And of course, because whey protein was promoted, you know, and it was. I took it when I was 20-something. That was a long time ago, and because you're looking for the protein, and you don't eat too much fat because it's going to make you fat. Well, it's just wrong. Protein and fat occur together, and for many people, dense protein without the fat can be inflammatory, and certainly a lot of people have problems with dairy. I don't have a problem with dairy as such, but for some people, dairy is inflammatory. But no, you're better off with meat.
I wonder if there is a version where they've got like the way that you have like the tallow capsulized. I wonder if you could make that with whey, or not even whey, but just like high protein, but it's powdered. It's got the fat and the you know, high quality milk protein in it. Because I know for muscle growth, you know, what do they say, like 1 gram per pound of body weight for protein, and that could be quite a lot of protein if you're doing like just steak or something. But I don't know if there's anything like that out there, but I don't know if that's even the right direction to go into, or if it's better just to go more meat oriented.
Yeah, I settled on the freeze-dried organs and freeze-drying whole meat products, because those things give you perfect balance ratios. Yeah, we have that tallow product because, you know, people will. That depends on people's energy requirement. Like and depending on what your activity level is different for everyone, and depending on what your diet is and where you got your meat and how lean it is. But the more you sort of go down that route of a more animal-based diet, you can feel when you need some more energy. So you can take in a bit more fat. You're not, but in general, I think we get too tricky. Like I think, and you'll hear some hardcore carnivores saying, "Oh, hey, you don't need any supplements." There's not many people running 100% carnivore. You know, some of them say they get by just on eating muscle meat alone, and I'm sure you could if you took in no plant food at all, and you're 100% carnivore. For some people, that might be enough, but there's argument that organ meats have been included in people's diets for throughout millennia, and then the energy requirement, you know, the ability to, you know, even if you're doing an event, if you're looking to do something over a day or multi-day event, and you're looking for the most nutrient dense energy, we got multi-sport athletes that take our stuff. You know, it's how much energy can you take with you and have it easy to get in with the least amount of work. I think the Antarctic explorers, they towed blocks of lard. That was their fuel. They just towed. They didn't take bags of rice or Well, spuds, or they toad blocks of lard, and that's how they fuel themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, we've come a very long way away from, I think, how we're meant to be living and eating, and yeah, it's wild. Before we finish up, Nigel, I'm dying to ask you, I want to talk about the bee pollen, because I've not seen bee pollen anywhere before. It was so intriguing, and now eating it, we love it. Like, we mix it with yogurt, and it's like Isaac loves, like, it gives it a bit of crunch, like a bit of texture. And it actually does give, like, you feel like this energy. It's called buzz, and it's like, it does gives you this energy. How'd you find out about the bee? I've not even heard of people eating bee pollen for this reason, let alone, packaging it up in the way that you guys have. So how'd you stumble upon that?
I got my hands on it years ago. You're right, there's not lots of it around. But I did get my hands on it years ago, and I read up on it, and 250 plus nutrients, considered a whole food. You could live on it, keep you alive. As I say, I'm 95% carnivore. I don't eat very many plants, but because plants don't want to be eaten. However, pollen that's what plants put out that they do want to be eaten. They purposely put it out as fuel for the bees to go and collect. It's great for desensitizing you. A lot of people get hay fever with pollen in the air. So if you have your bee pollen every day in the morning, we sell it in granules, as I think you might have gotten, and also capsules. I've had the odd person say they don't like the flavour, or it's too strong for them, but most people seem to love it. But you chew it up and put it under your, just if you hold it, the longer you hold it in the mouth, the better. But you've got lymph nodes under your tongue, so they study whatever you're eating, and it seems to desensitize a lot of people to the pollens in the air, so it can be quite beneficial. Probably, particularly if it's hay fever season, get into it a few weeks before and have it every day. And it seems to desensitize people to, but it's mostly essential fatty acids and proteins and every micronutrient you can think of. Yeah,
love it.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
why honey's so amazing too. Like we only do raw honey. And when it's got all that good bacteria in it, it's so beneficial for so many things, especially when you're sick, but just, every day. But the pollen we find fascinating. And it's funny, actually, you said, because the first time we took it, I just put it straight in my mouth because I kind of wanted to. I was like, oh, what's the texture like? What's it taste like? And I made a face, and I was like, you don't like it? I was like, it's just a weird, like, I'd never had it before. I was like, it's just a weird, it's not that bad, but it's just like a weird kind of flavor and the texture. And so we started doing that. But now, like, for me, I'm just like, mix it with some food and get it in. But it's actually not the worst if you just kind of chew on it.
Yeah, I love it. I just took with my fingers and just put some in my mouth straight and was just crunching on it. But it's felt really good. It tastes really good. But then I did some research into it, like what's going on with it. And it has, I can't remember the name of the thing. It's that one funny P word that we were laughing about.
Phenylalanine.
Phenylalanine. Yeah. I was like, what is that? So it's basically one of the constituents that you need to make dopamine and serotonin in your body. So, taking that in, helping your body produce the chemicals that help you feel better and think better and overcome, sad moments in your life and help you with motivation. So it's a really good thing to have.
Yeah. So I usually get up in the morning and I might, I'll generally put a couple of teaspoons in a glass and then add some probiotic natural yogurt. And give it a bit of a stir up. Now I might go off and have a shower, and you come back 15 minutes later, and it's fairly dissolved. Give it a couple of stirs, and then when it's pretty much dissolved, I'll add a bit of cream just to make it even creamier, and it's real yummy. Yeah, and it's
nice.
Great for you.
I like it when it's dissolved, and especially because then you mix it through and you get a bit of color through there. And I did that once for Isaac. I think I packed him like breakfast. He was going off to the market. I packed him breakfast the night before and I mixed it in. And when he got to the market, he's like, "Did you put bee pollen in this?" I was like, "Yeah, I mixed it through." And he's like, "Oh, it's all dissolved." He's like, "I didn't like," because he likes the texture.
I like it anyway though. I like the dissolved part. It's good. It has a really good flavor.
Yeah, but I love that about like for hay fever. And again, it's just like it makes so much sense because it's almost like a homeopathic dose of like you're reacting to the pollen in the air. You have a little bit of it and it can help you manage it. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, it does. And it's satisfying, the feedback from customers is great on that. Yeah. And it's funny, like when you have more whole food based supplements, people will take your supplement for one thing, but they'll find something else fixes.
Yeah.
I've got a good mate rang me up, and his daughter was vegan, and they figured that she needed some animal products in her diet, so they ordered some our multi beef organs, and she wouldn't take them. Right, so and he was like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to see them go to waste." So he just thought he'd take them, and I didn't even know he started. And he rang up and he just ordered his second bottle, and he said, "No, he said these multi beef organs." He said, and I didn't know this about him. He said, like decades ago, he said, "I've broken both my wrists twice," and he said, "Whenever I work outside, or I go sailing, or I do something out in the cold," he said, "my wrists give me hell for days afterwards." He said, "I've started taking your multi-beef organs." He said, "I've got no pain in my wrist." And he said, "I was out sailing on the weekend." I'm like, "Really?" like someone had asked. I said, "That's awesome." He said, "I don't want to stop." He said, "Because it's been for decades." He said, "It's been forever." He said, "It's the first time I haven't had pain." And I was like, and I've had another one with knee pain, knee and hip pain went away. You go, "Hey, I wouldn't have picked that," like you get all sorts of, because you're taking a multi-nutrient, your body puts the nutrients where it deems that it needs it the most, and you can't always pick. You can't, but we're not having negative effects because there's no toxicity in animal products.
Yeah,
but you do have quite a few unusual positive effects. It's good. It's interesting.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, we have similar stories with that, with customers using Alleviate for things that we never would have thought of. Like we had someone she had a cold or a flu, and she was like, "Oh yes," she's like, "Well, it's anti-inflammatory, so I thought I would just put it on my sinuses." So she just put it a bit over her nose and across her sinuses, and it helped her. It cleared her sinuses, and we were like, we never thought of that, and we tried it the next time we got sick, and it actually worked. Like it was amazing, and that's where the saying, like Isaac is so vigilant about making sure that there's absolutely no toxins in the product. There's nothing synthetic. It's all the highest quality organic, herbal extracts and stuff. And
you got to watch some of the stories that are out there too, because my sister, because when I told her what was in it, my sister is really into all the natural things, and she warned me about comfrey and said comfrey is really bad, it can damage your kidneys or something. And so I did some research into the research, and unfortunately you kind of have to do that sometimes. Whenever I see a report, especially on something natural, and it says it does this, it damages you, it hurts you this way, not all the time, but sometimes there's more to the story. And there was like, it's really a few different people that were already very sick that they were eating like a lot of comfrey leaves or something, and then had health issues. But even that, it was like, that's like 3 or 4 people. This wasn't like a big study with hundreds or thousands of people or anything. It was like a few isolated incidents of people from like the 80s. And they were already sick. So who knows what was going on with their kidneys at the time and everything else.
Well, and especially if they're eating like tons of comfrey, like when would you ever do that? Like you said before, Nigel, it's about balance. Like you can have too much of a good thing. Like if you're just eating too much of like one thing and it's not balanced, like it's always going to have the potential to sort of wreak havoc.
I think so many times there's been if authorities are looking for a reason to clamp down on something, they'll grasp it one or two negative cases, and that's that's an excuse to ban it, like raw milk. So
right,
yeah.
How many people have really come unstuck with raw milk, and yet how many people
hardly any.
How many people would benefit from the health effects of it? But because I'm guessing a very small number of people with maybe compromised immune systems got crook from some raw milk, might have been from a sick cow, and now all of us struggle to get our hands on raw milk. But you can have no doubt that pasteurization isn't done to make us healthier. It's done to give the milk longer shelf life and more profit for
exactly
for the guys putting it in the bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, these are valuable conversations where we discuss these things, and you've done, you've lived your own, pretty epic story of overcoming some pretty serious health conditions, and just the passion for life, the passion for seeing through, like seeing what the truth is, what's really going on in the body, what's really going on in the food industry and all that, led you down a very valuable path. And so we're very grateful that you came on to share your story and offer some of these insights. And
we can't recommend your products highly enough. I mean, we've only tried a couple so far, but we love them and can't wait to order more. So please let everyone know how they can get in touch and find you and order. You ship worldwide, don't you?
Yes. Yeah, we will. It's been New Zealand and Australia so far, but we'll just about to set the website up for all over. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's been great meeting you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this with you. And I love the product you're doing, and it's always nice to meet people that are awake, and it is a real journey, and whoever listens to this, where are they on their journey, sort of finding their way to health? And there's a lot of rabbit holes you can go down. There's this,
absolutely.
Getting your hands on the right information can be tricky sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it is, you just hear a conversation like this and it just sparks something. It just makes you question something, and then that can take you down a rabbit hole. And often it's just the thing that you need.
Actually, for what it's worth, I listened to a podcast not so long ago, and I there's a guy by the name of Ben Werman, and he put together a website called whycarnivore.com. He's not a doctor, and he's not all it is the collation of a whole lot of information from, it's an amazing resource, a whole lot of work in putting it together. That's like his gift to the world.
Yeah,
and
wow.
Whether or not you think carnivore is even interesting, or there's a hell of a lot of health information on there that would be useful, that you won't find many places. Trying to navigate to find some good info. Whycarnivore.com. It's worth a look.
Yeah, good tidbit. I might even check that out. I know so many people that are carnivore, and I'm a little bit like, I love eating meat, don't get me wrong, but I also do love my fruit and veg. And I'm always like, oh no, that's too extreme for me. But like every time I hear someone talking about like the health benefits, and I know so many people that are on it and just feel amazing, I'm like, oh, I really do want to try it. But it's just it's a mental shift that has to happen, because you get used to, you like your meat and 3 veg. And actually, it was funny because even just last night we made some, we love kangaroo, and I made some kangaroo steaks and just broccolini on the side. And I was actually so satisfied. I was like, I wasn't super full. I normally would make like mash or something with it. And I was actually like, yeah, we need to eat more like this. It's just so simple.
It's just easy. My wife, Michelle, she still cooks herself a few veggies. I'll typically cook the meat, and she'll do herself a few veggies, but it seems to be less lately. But it's just so easy. Like I go, dinner prep is how I reach in the fridge and get the piece of meat, and I light the barbie and I throw it on, and I turn it once and it's done, and I put some butter on it, and
yummo.
So simple.
And sometimes I get more adventurous, but it's a steak is pretty satisfying. And I always used to leave the meat till the end anyway, because that was the best bit. Now now the whole meal's the best bit,
Love it.
Yeah, well, I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna have to go have some steak and eggs this morning. Afternoon. And
well, for anyone wanting to head to, is it primalkiwi.co.nz?
No,
is that right?
Just primalkiwi.nz.
.nz.
Okay.
Yep. And
primalkiwi.nz.
We've got a discount code now. So for anyone listening, use the code NAF15 for 15% off. Is that right, Nigel? Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. Enjoy.
All right.
And
highly recommend.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, once
pleasure
again,
talking to you.
It's been great to do this with you guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
Likewise.
Thanks so much, Nigel. It's been great. Thanks for tuning in to the Natural AF podcast, where we explore holistic healing modalities, mindsets, and methods that reconnect us to nature and our natural state of being.
If something resonated, share this episode and see the show notes for our guest links, as well as all of our discount codes for our aligned affiliates and natural art form, where we handcraft a range of organic, natural remedies that help support your body's natural healing abilities and help support the show.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please take a few seconds to leave us a rating and review. And if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, hit the like button and drop us a comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.
We're not here to conform. We're here to remember what's real. So step into your power, be curious, and be natural AF.